Let's go over what the proposal and assessment is within the agreement. So within the sponsorship proposal, we're going to have facts about our property, what the event schedule looks like. We're going to show some different photos, some really good photos of things that might be attractive to the sponsor. We're going to have audience demographics, their purchase and marketing behaviors, and loyalty studies. And we're also going to provide a list of existing sponsors. Next, we want some case studies or some case history related to our clients' testimonials. What other sponsors have we had in the past, and what have they said about our partnership? We want to have a list of naming rights and or exclusivity categories. So, such and such is the soda of this event. We want to have a variety of sponsorship packages they can look at some post-sponsorship evaluation processes as well. So which ones have you done in the past, and how did you evaluate them? And overall, we want a summary of the rights and benefits of the sponsor per different agreements. Next, we'll talk about marketing benefits, and we'll want to have these specifically and explicitly stated as well. We'll want to look at what stadium or event signage is available, from scoreboards to advertisements, all that kind of stuff. Branding opportunities, where their logo is going to be placed specifically before, during, and after the event. What other promotional giveaways can we relate them or get them in with? And then how are we going to use their logo on the uniforms if that's a possibility? Then we're going to talk about corporate hospitality opportunities. So do we have luxury suites or season tickets that we can give with that within that sponsorship package? And again, talk about naming rights and loop that in again. Then we'll want to have a list of the marketing benefits. So this is where I call them the meat and potatoes of the advertising and publicity. So what advertising is available for this sponsorship? What publicity is available? And that's including radio, television, print, and online media. What promotional events and contests can we have? Sometimes that's cross promotions as well. So what are we going to have already in place, and what can we develop? What kind of direct marketing, personal selling, and retail promotions can we get out of this sponsorship package? Then we'll want to move on and be honest about how we're going to evaluate this. So we can evaluate it from, we look at different ways of evaluation, such as exposure. How well was the sponsor's brand position in the mind of the consumer? Then we can talk about attention. What level of customer attention was given to the company's products and or services? And this can be related to, the location of the advertisement or whatnot. Then we look at knowledge or awareness. What is the level of customers' knowledge or their understanding regarding the company's products or services? And continue with that. Think about the attitudes. What did the sponsorship do to help enhance the sponsor's ability to influence the customer's perceptions regarding its products or services? And think about that as it translates in the behaviors. Did the sponsored event stimulate positive changes in the consumer's consumption patterns, or did they inspire people or move people to make a purchase? So then we can talk about some very tangible ways of evaluation of this sponsorship. So we can monitor social media, see what kind of interaction and traction we're getting with that, and how that's translated into commercial behaviors. We can look at monitoring print press. So what kind of advertising or attention do we get? Photographic record and television exposure. So what kind of exposure are we getting in that media realm as well? So when somebody's doing a video or the event is televised and the sponsorship gets seen as far as in the background or the foreground and whatnot, then we can do some post event evaluation as far as interviews and surveys. So we can do that from a variety of ways of telephone interviews, mailed surveys, or we can do in-depth interviews and focus groups after the event. Since social media is pretty new, let's talk about that specifically for a second. We can look at social media measurements overall. We can make a record of existing website analytics and see what those analytics look like after a certain campaign or sponsorship. We can record current satisfaction scores and then look at what they might be after the sponsorship. And then we can make a note of any other key performance indicators that the sponsoring organization keeps track of and see how that translates after the campaign or sponsorship. With social media, specifically with stuff like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on and so forth, we can look at conversions. So what behaviors are inspired by the presence of that social media post or whatnot. Link clicks. So how often are we getting people to click on a link from social media and migrate them over to a website or to a purchase behavior, so to speak? We can look at comments through the social media. So we look at like positive comments, like you post a picture of an athlete and they have a logo and somebody says, oh, I see that Nike logo or whatever it may be, right? And then we can also look at shares. So if we post something and somebody shares it on Facebook, Twitter, or whatnot, and see how that reacts. And then overall, we can look at the number of followers or fans to these social media pages and see how that increases or decreases. Overall, when you talk about sponsorship, you want to make sure that the sponsoring agency and the end organization, whether it's an athletic event, athletic organization, or whatnot, you want to make sure they have both benefit from the sponsorship. And then you want to have a very explicit agreement to engage, facilitate, and assess that sponsorship.